Hello everyone, this is part 5 of What If Naruto Was Abused and Abandons Konoha to Train, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Nice job, Naruto said to the clone, who saluted smartly before puffing away. Alright guys, let's go, Naruto called out to his teammates already several steps in front of them. Kurenai began to follow as well as the others, and it wasn't long before they saw a clone above one of the boats pointing to it. The boat was quite small, only about 100 feet in length, yet it had 2 masts. Ugh, this won't be a luxurious ride, Tenten thought, sighing mentally. Just then the door to the cabin burst open. Oye, mateys, a graying man shouted out in a gruff voice. I'm Aiden, Tsutomi. But you can call me Cap'n. We have been directed to you by Tazuna the bridge builder, Naruto said excitedly, looking at the man's eye patch covering his right eye. Neji and Hinata looked questioningly at the man. He looked like the pirates Hirashi had so vividly described. He had said the second Hokage had, when allied to the village hidden in the mist, sent his grandfather and 3 other Konohana shinobi to kill or arrest all the pirates. With the 4-leaf shinobi and 8 mist shinobi, the pirates had been defeated. Or that's what the villagers thought. After seeing this man, Neji and Hinata weren't too sure. Tsutomi certainly made a convincing pirate with sword clung to his side and a black bandana covering his head. Welcome board the Edona. Where would you like to go? Tsutomi asked exuberantly. We're heading to the village hidden in the clouds, Naruto answered, eager to start the voyage. Alright, that should be a 2-day voyage about. We should go get supplies for the trip, he called out gruffly, already walking off. Alright everyone, come with me except for Naruto and Hinata, you two please stay here and watch the ship, Kurenai said, glaring at Naruto. Yes, sensei, Hinata said in a high-pitched squeak. Fine, Naruto groaned, rolling his eyes. Let's go, Kurenai barked out the order while turning around. So sensei has realized, interesting, Shikamaru noticed. So Hinata, what do you think of Tsutomi? He's pretty weird in a cool way, or pretty cool in a weird way, depending on the way you think of it. Naruto rubbed the back of his head, his grin only growing when Hinata smiled. Naruto's grin finally began to fade in the moments following, in which an awkward silence had settled. Surprisingly, Hinata was the first to break the silence. Naruto, Hinata asked, her tone changing slightly, why did you go to Lightning Country? Naruto winced, ever so slightly, but Hinata still noticed it. It's a long story. Perhaps I will tell you another time, Naruto said rather quietly, his eyes searching the ground for an answer to the situation. Hinata nodded and the two remained silent until Kurenai and the others returned half an hour later. Naruto, what did I do? What happened to you? Let's go, Tsutomi yelled from the ship. Naruto whipped his head around. How? When did you get here, Captain? Long enough to be bored. We leave now. Would it not be better to leave at daybreak? Neji inquired. Who the hell are you to tell me when we're leaving? That old line is for land goers. We seamen are much hardier. Landlubbers like yourself don't use your upper body when traveling, but now you will get the chance, he said while preparing the ship. Neji took a step back, blushing a little. Stupid, old pirates, he muttered. The rest of the group laughed except for Tenten, who stood shocked. Did Neji just blush? This trip might not be so bad after all. Uncomfortable maybe, fun, hell yes. A few minutes later the ship was ready to sail, and after making sure everyone was there, they hoisted anchor and opened sail. Let's go, Naruto yelled, failing to control his excitement. After a few seconds a sweat bubble formed at the back of his head. He forced a wavy smile had he received an embarrassed look from half the group excluding Lee, Hinata and Shikamaru. Naruto finally hung his head in defeat, the boat barely at 5 knots. Oh well, I guess if I get some rest now I can take the night watch. He calmly surrendered, going over to the hammock that hung between the mast and pole that was connected to another by string to hold drying clothing. This is surprisingly relaxing, he thought while fading to the unconscious with the sound of Neji chastising Lee in the background. Naruto sat straight up and turned to see where everyone else was, only to fall out of the hammock. Rubbing his head, he slowly stood up, then glancing at the sky determined he had been sleeping for close to 6 hours. With little effort he stood up and jumped to the top of the mast into the crow's nest. Naruto's eyes scanned the ocean, slowly adjusting to the light. The moon was almost full, so it was fairly light, and Naruto saw shapes under the water, not darkened but the clouds above. Then suddenly he saw a figure several hundred meters away. Thinking quickly and acting even quicker, Naruto created 2 clones, one to investigate and the other to report back if the other was destroyed. The clones took off at break-end speed over the water. Enhancing his vision with chakra, Naruto was able to see the basic figure. The man, well, the figure Naruto assumed to be a man, was emitting a powerful chakra that flowed to seam into the ocean. Just as the energy began to rest down, the man tensed. Glancing towards Naruto's clones, the man turned around. Then in a blinding instant both clones disappeared in 2 puffs of smoke. Naruto carefully started to study the man's features. He was bulk, broad-shouldered and overall tough. He reminded Naruto of someone. He reminded him of Captain. Naruto said, shocked to see the figure no longer standing on the water but on the edge of the crow nest's guard rail. Well, it seems I have been discovered. Naruto fell back onto his butt, his arms behind him catching the wooden frame. You're a ninja? The blonde asked, confused. I am indeed. The seasoned crewman nodded while removing his black cloak and water dragon mask. What village are you from and what were you doing on the water? Tsutomu looked at Naruto, staring into the blonde's blue eyes, searching the depths. Naruto, I will tell you who I am, what I was doing, and even teach you a little if you sign a contract, thereby swearing you will not, cannot allow you to inform others of what I am doing. Naruto paused before nodding. Tsutomu nodded and summoned a piece of parchment. Naruto, sign on the line. But I don't have a pencil. Tsutomu broke into a small smile before taking control of his face and gaining a stoic expression once more. This is no time for jokes, Naruto. You sign your name in B. Naruto quickly bit his thumb and signed his name. Upon finishing, the piece of paper vanished. Welcome, Naruto, to your first lesson. I am one of the 3, besides yourself, that knows Abudara's name, and I will be your first sensei from the group. Well, what kind of a sensei? Naruto asked suspiciously. I will help you gain knowledge and experience very quickly. How? By learning to use chakra to gain knowledge through constant wave flow. Huh? Naruto said, looking confused with his head tilted to the side. Well, to explain it in simpler terms, you obviously know how to transfer chakra out of you into techniques and seals, right? Naruto could only nod, not being able to tell where the captain was going. Well, basically I'm going to teach you to send chakra into surfaces and memorize things seen by other life forms and then use a link of chakra to then pull it back. Basically the same way you dip a bucket into a well and then pull it back up full of water. Only instead of pulling up water you'll be receiving useful information. Well, I can sort of get that thinking about the well example, but 1, what were you doing on the water a few minutes ago, and 2, why would you want to train me? On the water, you won't be able to do that for several years, but I was using the ocean as a medium for a telepathic link to my higher-ups. The leader of the organization you so recently became a part of just asked me to train you, saying it was a necessity. Naruto just sat back for a few moments trying to understand the situation. Then jumping up pointed at Tsutomu. Teach me, the blonde said, I bet I can learn this right away. Tsutomu smiled. Prepare yourself, container of the 9-tailed fox. Jumping down to the deck of the boat, Tsutomu turned to Naruto. I'll be back in a minute, I just want to see if we're on course. Naruto nodded, taking the opportunity to walk around the deck and think. How could I be in this position? I feel something I've never felt, but what is it? He just let it go after trying to discover his new feeling. Shaking his head and trying to continue his train of thought on training, he found himself standing over the sleeping form of a female Hyuga. Naruto frowned. She was sleeping on the ground in her sleeping bag next to Neji, and a little farther away Shikamaru. Tenten was sleeping in a hammock farther away. Lee was sleeping on the ground near Tenten, and Kurenai he knew was inside the main cabin. But what he was frowning at was how cold she was. Maybe I should move her, he thought, bending over. Gently he squeezed his hands under her sleeping bag and lifted her up. Where to put her? He hesitantly stepped around, not sure what to do when he saw his empty hammock. He quickly walked over to it and eased her in, then taking the blanket he had been using laid it evenly across her. He then watched happily as her breaths became more even. Nodding at her comfort, he turned around to see the captain staring at him. Naruto fearfully put his hands up in defense. Why do you have such an evil smirk on? Naruto said, hoping that it didn't involve his training. Quite the gentleman I see, even if ye are a bit rude looking. Tsutomu said quietly. Naruto didn't know whether to retort or say thank you, so he settled for staying quiet. Naruto, your training tonight will involve mostly chakra movement and control, but first I need to know what elemental affinity you have, so if ye would be so kind, please pour some chakra into this piece of paper. Tsutomu asked, politely holding out the piece of paper. Naruto nodded. Ryoku had tested him before but had never told Naruto what his affinity was. He had taken the paper away and sent Naruto out of the room before he could see anything. Slowly Naruto began to pour chakra into the paper. I wonder if my affinity will be fire since I live in the fire village, or maybe it will be something cool like earth or water. He suddenly let out a huge burst of chakra in his excitement. Whoa, Naruto, that should be enough. Tsutomu nodded wisely. Naruto, you have an affinity for wind. Naruto slumped over. What the heck, I know the least things about wind uses and wind jutsus. Ha! Naruto, don't be angry, I also have the affinity to wind. In truth, Naruto didn't feel any better but jumped off the boat after Tsutomu. Then Tsutomu twisted his body, firing 4 kunai towards Naruto. What the hell, Captain? He yelled back, flipping and using chakra to hold his feet while standing on the side of the boat. Sorry Naruto, before we begin I have to test your skill. I know your arm could start hurting, but I have to test you and enemies won't wait for you to get better. Tsutomu chuckled lightly, doing some seals, and then biting his thumb he s his hand into the water. Naruto charged forward expectantly. When nothing happened, he continued forward. After a series of punches and combinations of kicks failed to touch him, Naruto jumped back in an attempt to think up a plan. Suddenly the captain disappeared from Naruto's vision. Sorry Naruto, but if you waste time your enemy will KO you. Tsutomu stated, simply standing over Naruto. Naruto turned around, his arm pulled back only to get drilled in the sea. Stumbling back, he was tripped and then pounded into the water. That's when Naruto realized what Captain had done. 3 sharks and a million fish charged towards him. It was a summoning technique, it had to be. Naruto quickly up to the surface and jumped into the air. Damn fish, they're just below the water, I can't fall in. He tensed for a few seconds. What do I do? Enough! Tsutomu shouted. Naruto, right now you are probably thinking that I used a summoning jutsu that is not even close. But why else would you your own be? The blonde questioned. To keep you on your toes, and to give you a hint to what was coming, the captain replied simply. Naruto scowled. Now, I have figured out what your training will consist of for the next week or so. I want you to send your chakra through things, mainly wires. Naruto scowled again. Sensei, what will that teach me? It will improve your chakra control. Now no backtalk. Disappointed, Naruto walked back to the boat where Tsutomu had already set up a thin metal wire that stretched across the length of the boat. But what if one of my teammates wake up to see me? Have no fear, I have them under a powerful genjutsu that will be released when you fall asleep. Naruto's sensei gruffly replied. After several hours of sending his chakra through the wire, Naruto collapsed. Not bad, he has a lot of chakra, so he did more than most other students, but it took him longer to get it. Oh well, he'll still be on the second part of the test tonight. Naruto rolled over. Yeah, he was cold, but more than cold, he was tired. As he let the periodic swaying take him to a different place, his teammates were just getting up. The first up was Lee, who shortly after waking began to do his morning exercises. Neji followed suit and sat peacefully until the other were awake. Hinata slowly awoke to find herself quite comfortable. Then she noticed Naruto on the wooden deck with nothing but his clothes for comfort and warmth. Naruto, thank you. Tenten strode over to Shikamaru, who was faking snores, and began to kick him vigorously. Shikamaru tried to ignore it for a little while until he figured out she wasn't stopping. Then he bounced up and tried to shield himself from the blows, finally being saved by Kurenai picking him up by the collar. Hinata gracefully walked to wake Naruto and thank him, but Tsutomu stopped her. He bent over and picked up Naruto and carried him to his cabin. Captain, Kurenai called curiously, why did you put Naruto in your cabin? Well, you see, last night Naruto had his disease attack, so I took him away from the boat to tend to him and so not to wake you. Tsutomi replied with practiced ease. After that there were no more questions about Naruto and the day passed quickly mainly due to the busy life of a sailor. As the sun began to set, Tsutomi noted how much progress they had made and calculated they would reach the Lightning Country by noon the following day. Naruto woke up feeling refreshed and hurriedly caught a fish and began to cook it, seeing as the others had already finished with the dinner. I wonder where Tsutomi is, Naruto wondered as he began to roll out the wire he had hid in the captain's cabin. Wait Naruto, Tsutomi called. Tonight we will do something different. The blonde folded his arms, curious but also suspicious. Naruto, I want you to send your chakra to me. I will be waiting a few feet below the surface, okay? Naruto stared at the open space in shock. His sense had just vanished beneath the ocean's surface and he, Naruto, was asked to do something he didn't know was possible. Slowly Naruto focused his chakra and let it seep into the water. He watched nervously, wondering if the chain would not be made. Finally, after much chakra had been lost to the tide, a small S of blue energy began to make its way to Tsutomi, who was looking on in shock. After several more seconds the chakra reached Tsutomi. Naruto stood up triumphantly. First try. Believe it. Tsutomi, upon emerging from the water, began to clap. A tear swelled in his eye. Never before has someone done that on their first try. Man, I'm the best teacher. What do you mean you didn't teach me anything? Naruto yelled in disagreement. Anyway, Tsutomi said, changing the topic, we will continue but I will be deeper now. The process of Naruto succeeding and then the distance being lengthened continued for hours until Naruto could make chakra chains up to 100 feet. Nice work Naruto, Tsutomi said, nodding his head in approval. Thanks. Naruto panted out. Now, time for something different. Naruto, I am going to go below the surface to 100 feet and when I get there I want you to send me a message with the chakra chain. Huh. Naruto grunted, his head tilted to the side. This is not easy to explain, but, you know that chakra can be converted into jutsu, but what you don't know is, jutsus are only the beginning. I have spent my whole life studying chakra manipulation, and I have found that you can take words you've said from your memory box without even remembering you've said them and use them to form new sentences. These new sentences can then be sent through chakra chains to allies or teammates, telling them to things that you aren't in a position to say. Naruto opened his mouth only to be see off. For example, if you were captured, you could use a chakra chain to communicate with teammates who are far away or even if they're right next to you but you're gagged. Understand? Tsutomi asked. Naruto nodded, he had actually understood most of it. Sensei, I have one question. Most people can't use chakra chains, right? Tsutomi thought for a moment. True, but they can still receive messages from the chakra chains. Unfortunately, they won't know who it's from. That said, Tsutomi disappeared under the water. Naruto quickly got to work but found it nearly impossible to attach the words to the chain. In frustration, he pumped a huge amount of chakra into the chain, snapping it. F. He yelled. Taking a quick break, he put his hand between his legs only to glimpse Kurenai staring at him. Next to Naruto, the water began to bubble, then Tsutomi stood next to him. Naruto, what's the matter? Why did you stop? Tsutomi grimaced upon seeing the genjutsu mistress. Naruto, I hope you know a memory erasing technique. The blonde slowly shook his head. Naruto, we'll have to K her. Naruto turned around in shock at Tsutomi's proposal. He knew it would be bad if they were seen, but K, that seemed a little much. Kurenai sensei, how much did you see? Naruto asked, hoping that if she had seen only a few minutes or less the whole incident would be forgotten. All of it. She spoke the words emotionlessly, for what reason Naruto didn't understand. Tsutomi sadly looked at Kurenai. Naruto, I forgot to put up the genjutsu and no one is supposed to know I'm a ninja. I have been undercover doing research for 5 years. We have no choice but to K her. Naruto slowly turned back toward Tsutomi, whose B-lust was quickly rising. Sensei, I'm sorry but I can't let you, and I will protect her because she... Naruto suddenly went into a trance-like state, completely zoned out in front of Tsutomi for half a second. Naruto was suddenly standing in front of the Kyuubi. Remember Naruto, you promised to let me take over once a month. I will take over now. Not now Fox, I'm in the middle of something. Naruto yelled out in frustration. Foolish human, what gives you the idea you decide? Naruto head fell, then a second later the Kyuubi looked up from Naruto's body. A demonic malicious smirk appeared on its face. Tsutomi stepped back. The blue chakra that had been emanating out of Naruto suddenly became purple before turning to red. You're all S. Tsutomi watched on in horror as the QB in Naruto's body turned around and sprinted toward Kurenai, water flying up between each step until he reached his sensei. The blow that connected had already been enough to know the Jonin out, but the QB wasn't done. Not even close. Taking out a kunai, the demon SHB spewing all over the boy's face. Suddenly the body's image began to change into a man. With that the orange-clad ninja turned around. You, the QB stated, calling out to Tsutomi while pointing towards the stoic ninja. You can give me a real fight. Tsutomi calmly stepped into his fighting pose. Let's go. Tsutomi jumped into the air followed by the QB. I know you can't use your full power in that body, in truth not even a tenth. Don't underestimate the power of the greatest of demons mortal, for that your death will be painful and long. Tsutomi couldn't help but smirk. Oh, and it was going to be nice and quick before. True. The demon answered, simply kicking the captain higher. Jutsu are useless against this demon, I better just try and survive. Kaiten, Ruka no Jutsu, fire release, dragon fire technique, the QB shouted. Why use such a low-level technique, Fox? Tsutomi asked, dodging the attack easily. Growling, the QB shot all of its 9 tails at the captain. The first tail connected, knocking back Naruto's new sensei into the water. Pathetic. The QB hissed. Naruto's body turned and began the walk to the ship when the water began to bubble behind it. It's my turn. Tsutomi grunted. He stood on the top of a giant squid that stood over 200 feet from the top of the water. The QB grinned menacingly. Calamari, my favorite. The squid giant legs crashed down on the ocean face. The QB stood panting a couple 100 feet away, soaked from the massive waves. Abruptly water sprayed everywhere as a great white shark shot up from the water right underneath Naruto's feet. Quickly the QB jumped into the air to dodge the assault, only to be struck down with the giant arms of the squid. The demonic chakra finally began to fade. I got lucky. The QB is not used to a human body, so it could not move at its maximum capability. Tsutomi sighed. Picking up Naruto, Tsutomi walked back to the boat. I have to tell leader Sama of the results. Naruto woke up in a daze. What happened? He mumbled wearily, his eyes wandering aimlessly around the familiar landscape. As his vision became more focused, he realized he was on the deck of Tsutomi's ship, but there was something different. Where is everything? Naruto asked himself. The deck was completely empty. There was no one or none of the supplies they had taken for the trip. Oh, Naruto, you're awake, Tsutomi called from the crow's nest. Your friends have all gone ashore. It would be wise to leave right now. Naruto jumped to his feet. All right, lead the way, Captain. Tsutomi smiled, relieved that Naruto's memory of the following night was gone. Okay, then let's head to shore. Phew, it seems Tsutomi-sensei believes my memory from last night is gone. That's a relief. Sorry about not apologizing, but I don't want to worry you. Naruto jumped off the boat following Tsutomi. His bright orange clothes from the previous day were still on and in bad condition as well. Well, I can clean myself up at the daimyo's mansion. As soon as Naruto had reached the first shop the port had to offer, he spotted his team. Kurenai and the genin were sitting at a seafood stand a couple 100 feet where he stood. Quickly he ran past Tsutomi, his light pack bouncing erratically. So guys, any sign of Guy-sensei? Naruto asked curiously. Kurenai shook her head. No, but I expect he will turn up soon. I have never known Guy to waste time on a mission. So until he returns we should meet with the Raikage. Naruto, you know this country, would you care to lead the way? Naruto grinned. I'd love to. But being official navigator we're going to take some detours. Kurenai's face fell. What the hell was I thinking? Naruto wasted no time eating. He had a team to tour around the country. He smirked. They were going to see some weird people. After a few hours of end-break running and Lee whining about how slow and unyouthfully they were traveling, they arrived at the heart of Lightning Country. Hinata risked a glance at Naruto. The orange-clad ninja was beaming a pure happy smile. He must love this country, she thought. Naruto just kept taking in the sight. He had only been away from his home for a couple of months and already he was so glad to be back. The evil glares I got in Konoha are gone. He couldn't help but yell out his joy at returning, his fist held proudly in the air. He continued to be lost in his own little world before Neji knocked him over with a punch to the head. Which way, Naruto-san? Lee asked, his excitement beginning to match Naruto's. Naruto got up from the ground and pointed straight ahead. He hurriedly began walking through the large town with his friends following closely behind. I can't wait until we get to the academy and I can introduce everyone. I'm going to look so cool. Naruto bolted towards the first building when he saw the academy. It was much like the one in Konoha except for the color of the roof, which was a gentle green, and the color on the walls, which was a calming yellow. The fact that the building's exterior was so soothing confused the rest of the genins. The building looked a little like a preschool on the outside. Ah, Naruto, what's with the coloring? Tenten asked curiously. Naruto laughed loudly and shook his head. Just wait till you see the inside. Tenten looked to her teammates for an answer, but they just shrugged and followed the confident blonde. Tsutomu chuckled softly. Yes, he was still following Naruto, but Naruto was the only one who knew ever the Genjutsu master had not been able to detect his presence, and with his subtle movements only one thought was going through his head. I am the best teacher, no correction, the coolest. As soon as the team from Konoha entered the academy, their mouths fell wide open. And while Naruto's friends stared agape at the interior of the academy, Naruto was flooded with a memory, one forever etched in his mind. Flashback. It was October 11th and Naruto had just turned 7, and after 2 years of living with Ryoku mainly indoors, he was finally going to the academy. Naruto turned to Ryoku. Ryoku-san, what do I do? I don't think the people will like me and I really don't want to get hit anymore. Ryoku frowned slightly. Naruto, don't worry, you'll get stronger here, and besides, people here are different from how they are in Konoha. Naruto nodded, swallowing his fear and putting all of the trust he could manage into believing Ryoku. Okay, bye Ryoku-san. Naruto gulped and stepped forward. Finding that the first step was the hardest, his newfound confidence shuffled him inside the friendly and inviting door. But as soon as Naruto entered the building, his ego was shattered. Everything was a piercing black, a serious, unforgiving, uninviting black. The blonde began to turn around when a young woman walked up to him. What is your name, kid? The brunette Chunin asked in an emotionless voice. N.A. Naruto, he choked out, feeling a wave of sinister energy around her presence. Uzumaki A. Okay, you're on the floor, room 2B, just walk down a couple of doors and make a left, okay? Naruto nodded and thanked her. As she walked off, he looked at the back of her head. Though it may not have been a nice welcome, it wasn't like it had been too unfriendly either, and as he witnessed her give the exact same treatment to another boy, he could tell this place would be different. Smiling, he walked down the corridor and entered his classroom. He was pretty early, as only 3 other students were in the room, a girl probably around the age of 9 and 2 boys who seemed to know each other pretty well. Naruto waved to each student and moved to take a seat by himself in the back. But to his surprise, the girl waved back, an innocent smile on her face. Naruto stepped toward the aisle and walked up to the girl. Hi, I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Hi, I'm Yama Hinamori, nice to meet you. Naruto opened his mouth again. Would it be okay if I sit here? The blonde asked, blushing. The girl nodded again, giving him another smile. You're cute, how old are you? 6. I'm 7. Naruto replied, humiliated. Hinamori giggled. Okay silly, no need to get mad. Sorry, it's just that today's my birthday. Oh. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun. Thanks. Naruto stared at her for a little while before turning to mull over what had just happened. Why did she talk to me? She is really pretty and nice, so why would she want to talk to me? Naruto turned to look at her again. She was definitely cute with her shoulder-length brown hair and her pretty smile. Why did she say I could sit next to her? So Naruto, Hinamori asked, why are you entering the academy at such a young age? Well, my friend Ryoku-san, who I live with, is a really cool ninja, so when he is away I have to know how to be able to defend myself. Is this your first year at the academy too? Naruto asked, changing the subject. Yes, but I guess we should stop talking now because class is about to start, Hinamori said, pointing to the door where a few remaining students had just dived in to beat the teacher. Hello, for the remainder of this year I will be your sensei. My name is Yakamoto, Senshi, but you can call me Yakamoto Sensei. Now if you would please come forth and introduce yourself to the class, you start. A boy wearing a pair of dark shades stepped forth. But already Naruto had zoned out. It didn't matter who these kids were, he'd beat them all. When it was Naruto's turn, he stepped forth stiffly and purposefully. My name is Uzumaki, Naruto needs to meet you. Naruto sighed. He had chickened out. It doesn't matter, they'll know eventually. At the end of class, Naruto began to walk out to meet Ryoku when he saw a girl a few years older than himself being hit with rocks, behind the school, by the two boys who Naruto had seen when he had first walked in. Gosh, I wish those jerks would stop. Hinamori said in frustration. Why doesn't stop them? Naruto asked, fuming. Well, one, those are the two best kids in our class from an elite clan in the village, and two, that's MIA and she is said to be a demon vessel. She turned. Well, I guess we'll just have to hope they stop. Let's go, Naruto. She said, walking away. But as she turned around, she saw Naruto run up and punch one of the boys. Naruto. Naruto heard Hinamori call for him, but he ignored her. He would not let anyone get bullied when he was around to stop it. Who the hell do you think you are? The fallen boy asked, standing up and grabbing the orange-wearing ninja by the collar. We're from the Barui clan and a punk like you can't touch us. I'm Uzumaki, Naruto. Remember it, the blonde yelled, kicking the boy in the stomach. Why, you piece of crap? The other boy yelled, pinning Naruto to the ground. Naruto struggled, but to no avail. Rising from the dirt, the kicked-down boy raised a fist. You're going to wish you never messed with us, punk. Naruto shivered. He felt cold. He wanted to lie down and go to sleep and let the pain dissipate away. Nevertheless, he rose again. What the hell is wrong with you, kid? You want to get beaten more? Fine. He raised a fist again. Stop. Hinamori yelled, the tears rolling down her face. Just leave, you jerks. Please. The two bullies, startled, hesitated, then shrugged. Whatever they said in unison, this loser isn't worth our time. A few seconds later, their shrinking figures were gone. Hinamori rushed over to Naruto and gently lifted his head and then his back, before he sank into a sitting position. Naruto, she said, half giggling, half crying, you have a self-abusive personality. It's called masochism and it's not healthy. Carefully and quietly, MIA walked over and sat next to Naruto. Noticing her, Naruto turned towards her. You okay? He asked, a little bee rolling down his lip. She blushed. Thank you, Naruto-kun, she said, kissing him on the cheek. As soon as she finished, she ran off. Naruto blushed. Wow, so that's AK. It felt nice. Hinamori was blushing as well, but she felt a pang of something. What was it? Jealousy, perhaps? Naruto, she said, hugging him, you were really brave. End flashback. Naruto smiled. Let's go, guys. Naruto grinned. The black interior was as imposing as ever. The dimly lit hallway was damp and had an unfriendly atmosphere. A young man around 14 greeted Naruto. So the legend has finally returned. The older boy said, chuckling, clamping Naruto's wrist as Naruto clamped his. After a few seconds of grins that were just inviting the onlookers to laugh, the ninjas let go of each other's wrist. Sakuro, I'd like to introduce you to my teammates from Konoha. Kuro saluted smartly. A pleasure, he said, bending over and Tenten's hand. Blushing furiously but not at all displeased, she managed to say, hi, I'm Tenten. Naruto fell to the ground laughing, as did Tsutomi, who only 100 feet away began to choke himself to prevent Kurenai from hearing him. Naruto slowly rose from the floor, clutching his stomach. Okay, Kuro, smooth anyway. This here is Lee, pointing to the green-suited ninja. That's Neji, Naruto said, pointing at the frowning Hyuga, and behind him are Hinata-chan and Shikamaru. Oh, and she is my sensei, he said, finishing his introductions. Hello, my name is Kuro and I'm the top student teacher here. He responded, introducing himself. You're a Chunin? Tenten asked curiously. You're pretty young for a Chunin. Kuro smiled at her. Yes, you see, I was the #1 rookie in my graduating class, and so I was an early graduate last year at 13, but though I was the #1 rookie, I still haven't beaten this kid. Kuro smiled, nudging Naruto. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, it's a good thing we have only fought 3 or 4 times. You didn't have that many opportunities. Right, Kuro replied sarcastically. Anyway, if you wish, I could give your teammates a tour. I know you would like to meet up with some, how should I say, old friends. Naruto blushed a little. That would be great, Kuro, thanks a ton. Naruto immediately shushioned out of the room and began searching for 2 friends he hadn't seen in a few months. Tsutomi meanwhile cursed in disappointment. I wanted to see Naruto's school, or well. Better not lose him. Naruto glided over the buildings. It looks like I'll have to see Ryoku first. He thought, cringing as the pain in his arm began to come back. After numbing his arm with chakra and sprinting 5 or so miles, Naruto burst through the door to his house. Ryoku was talking to someone in the other room. The name was familiar but at the same time foreign. Throwing open the door to the room, the two men, the second voice was male, were occupying. Naruto saw a startled Ryoku turn while the second person disappeared in a wisp of smoke. Naruto! Ryoku exclaimed, "How was your trip?" Naruto looked cautiously around at the scarce furniture decorating his house. Naruto's eyes all but meeting Ryoku's. "Naruto, what happened?" Ryoku asked in a serious tone. Naruto sighed and walked over to the couch next to Ryoku's chair and collapsed solemnly. "Sensei," Naruto paused, bracing himself for Ryoku's anger. "Sensei, do you remember when you told me about the side effects of the pills?" "Of course, Naruto, it would be pretty stupid if I didn't know everything about the pill I created." Ryoku stated, a little annoyed at the question. "Well, Sensei, I took the anti-pill, and for some reason my right arm has been going through a series of chronic pain attacks, and I was wondering if..." Ryoku's eyes widened in shock at Naruto's words. So soon? Naruto has already used his anti-pill. This could prove devastating if his arm is not healed soon. "Naruto, please lay down on the couch," Ryoku said. His voice was a little shaky but it held off the fear that made Ryoku want to scream. Naruto complied quickly. Then, without getting in his sensei's way, took off his jacket and shirt, throwing the two items behind him onto the floor. "Damn," Ryoku muttered, his hands placed on Naruto's arms. Without hesitation he slowly poured chakra into Naruto's arm. "Ahhh. God, that F hurts." Naruto screamed, his left hand beginning to snap the wood of the couch back, which he was using to stop himself from twisting in agony. Ryoku grimaced. "Naruto, this is important. Are any members of your team Hyugas?" Naruto nodded, "2 of them actually." He grunted in reply, the pain still lingering like the taste of bad medicine. Ryoku sighed in relief. He really didn't want to sprint all the way back to Konoha. "Where are they?" His tone showed he was very serious. "At the academy," he replied, gloomily, getting the feeling that whatever was coming was not going to be pleasant for him. Both Ryoku and Hinata arrived a few minutes later. Naruto knew, of course, that Neji was mostly like impassive when Ryoku asked one of them to come. What he didn't know was how readily Hinata volunteered. "Ready, Hinata?" Ryoku asked, noticing her Byakugan was already active. She nodded, her usual timid expression gone and a new determined on in its place. "Fine." Then, putting his hands together and making the opening between them a triangle, he called out, "Shintenshin no Jutsu." Mind-body switch technique. Ryoku's body slumped to the floor. "All right, Naruto, as you can see I'm now in Hinata's body and I'm going to perform, I guess, what you can call surgery, okay?" "You mean you're going to see me open?" Naruto asked fearfully. "No, that's what Hinata's here for, using her Byakugan. I won't need to see anything now. Say good night." Naruto began to feel faint as Ryoku and Hinata used a medical jutsu to knock him out cold. "Let's get started," he said to himself. Using the Byakugan, he speedily found the muscle tissue that had been heavily damaged. It was very close to being permanently destroyed, but luckily Naruto had arrived sooner rather than later. He then forced chakra into the muscle, destroying the excess chakra that had disfigured the muscle. Then, inserting more chakra, he began to connect the broken strands of the muscle. Of course, some of the muscle had been eaten away and Naruto would have to train hard to get it back. The worst was over. The chakra that was stopping muscle growth and limiting his activity was gone. The deteriorating muscle had been stabilized. The arm was saved. Ryoku sighed, returning to his body. Though the procedure had only taken 10 minutes, but it had taken a lot out of the 21-year-old ninja. As Hinata came to her senses, Ryoku began to doze off wearily. He always used too much chakra in medical jutsu. Hinata gazed at the sleeping Naruto. He was so different from all the other ninja she knew. He worked hard, and was fairly talented. He wasn't too smart, but he was very clever. He lived to train, yet he would also help others and wasn't afraid to ask for help. He was different, brave, and alert that only 2 other ninjas could claim. He was mysterious. Not like Sasuke, who was a jerk, or even Kakashi, who was a pervert. He was an angelic, mysterious boy. Hinata sighed, "I don't have a chance with Naruto, and he probably would like Ino or maybe Tenten more. I know I don't have a chance, but I want to at least." She blushed. What was she thinking? She sighed again and tentatively let her hand meander through his divine, golden hair. So peaceful, she murmured. So innocent. Hinata was too busy wondering about Naruto to see the young woman outside blushing furiously. Naruto has a girlfriend. What is he thinking? Hinamori was furious. Here she was coming to see the boy who knew she had a crush on him for the last 4 years. She walked in a fit of jealous anger. Hinata turned in shock at the approaching figure. Oh no, I'm such a disgrace to the Hyugas. I just let a lady walk up behind me. Hello, I'm Yama, Hinamori. Hinamori said, walking up to Hinata and trying to maintain her composure. It's nice to meet you, Hinamori-san. I am Hyuga, Hinata. Hinamori stared at Hinata for a minute before looking at her hand, which rested in the blonde's hair. So how do you know Naruto, Hinata-san? He's my teammate, she replied quickly, recoiling her hand from Naruto's head. Hinamori seemed a bit relieved. Just teammates? She asked, raising an eyebrow at the blushing Hyuga. Yes, Hinata said, understanding what Hinamori meant. Oh, I have to say I'm relieved. When I walked in and saw such a cute girl with my Naruto-kun, I was worried that the two of you were going out. Hinata turned even redder than she already was. Do you like Naruto-kun? Now it was Hinamori's turn to blush. Yes, she replied softly. Hinata's eyes bulged for a second. She openly admitted that to a stranger. Why, I wish I could say the same thing. Naruto definitely wouldn't like someone so pathetic, or someone who pities herself so much. For Naruto, I will grow stronger. So what happened to him? Hinamori asked, nodding towards Naruto. For the next half hour, Hinata slowly explained everything that had happened since they had left on this trip. In the meantime, Shikamaru and the rest of the team was learning of the training required to become a genin in Lightning Country. Shikamaru had snuck out of the academy and onto the roof to watch the clouds. Neji watched impassively as Kuro explained how each student had to know henge at least 2 different ninjutsu and be able to create 3 bunshin. But of course, Kuro continued, there are some graduates who took a different test, one more suited to their abilities. One was Naruto. Since he can't to bunshin, he did 3 different moves of ninjutsu instead of 2. He wasn't surprised to see Tenten and Lee's look of shock. What do you mean he can't create bunshins? The 2 teammates asked in unison. Kuro laughed for a little while. I'm not surprised Naruto didn't tell you, even though it's impressive that the reason is he has too much chakra. It still embarrasses him that he can't do a jutsu almost every academy student can do. Anyway, Kuro said, let me take and introduce you to the Reikage. I'm sure he'll be pleased to meet with you. Kuro led the way out of the classroom, down the stairs to the main hallway and out the door. Shikamaru calmly watched as the ninjas took off across the village. He sighed, it probably doesn't concern me, so I'll just watch some more clouds. Ah well, I wonder what Chuji is doing right now. Chuji sneezed. He and Sakura were on pretty good terms at the moment, but Sasuke for some unbeknownst reason hated his guts. Kakashi had been teaching the group to run up trees, but so far Chuji was struggling. Sasuke couldn't help but tell him he was useless every 5 seconds. He took a deep breath. He missed Naruto and Shikamaru. Shikamaru and Naruto both sneezed at approximately the same time. Only Naruto's sneeze woke him up and he covered his mouth, stifling a yawn. Rubbing his eyes, he sat up. Then he realized 2 things. First off, his arm no longer hurt, and second, Hinamori and Hinata were staring at him. Hinamori, he said happily, how are you? She smirked, I've been better. Then she walked over and hugged him. Hinata has been telling me a lot of what you did the past months, Naruto. Care to explain why you decided to go fight a missing nin? Naruto grinned and shrugged mischievously. So are you and MIA ready for the Chunin exam? He asked, knowing full well they were. Hinamori cringed. Naruto doesn't remember, but MIA, yeah, MIA and I have been ready for a while, and you know Kuro already passed. Naruto sat for a moment. Wait, don't I have a team? I can't remember. Naruto saw an image flash through his mind of his team, but it quickly disappeared. Desperately he searched his mind. Why don't I see anything? Kit, don't go looking for that memory, it took your sensei and I long enough to get rid of it. Don't bring it back. The QB snarled. What are you talking about, you damn fox? I never asked you to take away my memories, did I? Naruto yelled angrily. Actually, brat, you did. Now I think you're old enough now to remember if you want, but the memory will bring back the scars. I'll tell you later, alright, just don't worry over it now. Naruto just grimaced. What the hell? Shaking his head, he turned back to the girls. What do you say we take a walk? Both girls stood up. Where would you like to go, Naruto-kun? Let's go, he called to the girls as he raced out of the house. He needed to get away. I need to see MIA, he thought. The girls raced after to him with all their speed but were still losing to the determined blonde. Naruto flipped over a tall building and into a more remote area where Mia's house was located. The house was very small, having only 3 or so rooms. It was also extremely isolated and stood several hundred feet from the surrounding homes. Naruto paused before knocking on the door. He had helped MIA for years, protecting her from bullies, talking to her about his demon, which is something he hated to do, even teaching her when she needed help training. Of course he wasn't going to blackmail her. They were friends, she would definitely help him. But, he was feeling the oddest sensation, a deep pain in his heart that would not allow him to finish his attempt to see one of his precious people. He felt as though he had lost an important person to him. Finally he amassed the courage to knock on the door. Slowly he raised his hand and brought it down, only to be stopped halfway by Hinamori shouting, "Naruto, wait." He turned curiously. Why? He asked, puzzled. Hinamori stood trapped. She knew his memory of the event had been erased. What do I do if I don't tell him? He'll be curious and ask MIA himself, but if I tell him, I can. No matter what, let that happen. Naruto, please hear me out. If you would like, I'll take you somewhere private and explain everything, but if you go inside you won't like what you find. Her voice was filled with despair. Hey. Naruto glared at Hinamori, anger present in his eyes. She's our friend, how could you try and stay away from her? Hinamori grabbed his arm, hugging it firmly. Empathy flowed from her being. Naruto just growled and pulled his arm back. Then he forcefully opened the door. The inside was neat and orderly, more so than it had been previously. Naruto marched inside, seeing no sign of MIA. Frustration getting the better of him, he rushed across the wood-paneled floor to Mia's bedroom. Opening the door, he saw nothing. The room was empty save for a dresser and a bed. The bed sheets were neatly folded and the pillows tidily set at the head of the bed. Turning around to leave, he saw an envelope taped onto the door. Tentatively he picked it up, and tearing the fold off, pulled the paper out from inside. Dear Naruto, I am ashamed of my actions, and a boy of your greatness should not meddle with foul beings like myself. I hope one day you'll understand what I did. Of course I don't expect you to. Though, as you've said hundreds of times, your life has been easier than mine. You're still the container of a demon, just as I am. Our difference is not the style of life we live, but our perspectives on it. Naruto, I can no longer stand the hate of the village. It has brought too much pain into my heart. Though I can never express how grateful I am to all the love you gave me, I selfishly wish not to see you again and avoid the horrible memory altogether. You already know that I will never let my memories be taken. Naruto, I've never been as brave as you, or as strong, but I am emotionally tougher. That said, the memory from our encounter will most likely take years to fix. Until we meet again, remember, I love you, Naruto Uzumaki. Love, MIA. Naruto read the letter again, and then another time, and finally a fourth. His face paled considerably. His mind was full of conflicting emotions, yet his face was stoic. He walked out of the house on autopilot. He was not moving himself, his anger was. Hinamori, Naruto stuttered. Yes, Naruto-kun. Hinamori stuttered back in fear of upsetting the distraught Naruto any more than he already was. MIA left. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.